Welcome friends to this Granny's Youth GodPod, which follows on from Granny's GodPod number 33. I'm sure all my listeners will find the Youth GodPod interesting, even though this one is especially for you younger people. You are most welcome. Now, I'm not here to tell you what to think, I just want to give you something to think about. Let's get going then. Have you ever thought about your happiness bucket? Have you ever wondered how to fill it? Do you ever look at those around you and think they seem to have more happiness than you do? Do they seem to be more organised, more successful, have more money, more friends than you? Do you feel that if you had a job or a better job, a car or a better car, somewhere better to live, more money, more holidays, the latest iPhone or computer game, that would fill your happiness bucket? And if you've achieved some of these things, does your happiness bucket feel fuller, or are you still dissatisfied? When I first started work and was not earning very much money, I used to think if only I was earning the same as the others, I could do so much more. One of the bosses said to me that getting a raise only meant you would live up to the higher rate of pay. You would not actually feel any better off. Does achieving material things make you feel better about yourself? Or is it a temporary fix? And does filling your happiness bucket only depend on how you feel? This leads to the question, is what you feel the truth? In the past, the truth was based on reality, like bananas are yellow or tomatoes are red. Everybody would have agreed that was a true fact. Are there now different kinds of truth? If I feel chilly on a sunny day, but my friend feels the warmth of the sun, is one right and the other wrong? Do we notice if truth changes from person to person, and keep the ability to see that some things are either true or false? For example, if I write out 2 sets of directions to a friend's birthday party, but in one I get left and right mixed up, only one set of directions will be true. Feeling I wrote the directions correctly does not alter the fact that one set is false. So I can see that my feelings are valuable in telling me how I feel, but it doesn't mean that everyone would think those feelings are true, or that everyone's feelings would be the same. I'm sure we all agree that, as a human being, we have value. But where does that value come from? Who or what gives us value in our society today? And if we take our self-worth from society's values, what happens when cultural values change? Christians believe that God gives us our worth. God doesn't change. And it doesn't matter what the world thinks, he knows the number of hairs on our head. Some people may feel that following a figure from 2,000 years ago is not relevant for them. But we do know that Jesus did exist. He was a historical figure. He taught reasonable truths in parables. And his apostles tell us that they saw the risen Jesus after his death. Obviously, if this did not happen, then our religion is false and of no use. But if it is true, it has a huge and profound impact on how we should live our lives, and especially on what will happen after we die. Have you heard of the Kalam theory? Put simply, it argues that whatever begins to exist has a cause of its existence. The universe began to exist, and therefore the universe has a cause of its existence. When we look at the world around us, does it suggest life randomly formed out of nothing? Surely we cannot be an accident of unintentional biological processes. Just think of the complexity of information in DNA for one thing. I'm sure you know that computers use a binary code of zeros and ones. But DNA uses a code of ATGC, the chemicals adenine, thymine, guanine and cytosine. The code is 3 billion letters long in the nucleus of each cell, which suggests there must be an intelligent designer, a power with much greater knowledge than we humans have. For followers of Jesus, that designer is God. To Jesus, we are all valuable. We are made in the image of God after all. But we are broken, we make decisions good and bad, and we often need guidance to reach our best potential. There is a lot of imagery of sheep in the Bible. Jesus is the Good Shepherd. He leads his sheep along the right path, and his sheep hear his voice. I have heard it said that sheep are the most dumb of all animals. They need someone to follow. They are completely helpless. But when they look at you, they are so lovable, and you just can't help but respond to their need for help. When Jesus looks at us after we have done something dumb, he still thinks we are lovable and offers his help, which is why he came down to put us on the right path. If you have times when you don't feel good enough, that's okay, because we are all God's work in progress, not perfect, but able to be led on the right road. Like a good shepherd, Jesus laid down his life for his flock. Our parents or grandparents or great-grandparents, having lived through a world war, had a better idea than we do today of how great a sacrifice it is to die for the sake of others. It can be difficult to understand the biblical idea that everyone is born sinners, even little babies. But everyone is born with a natural sense of self-preservation. It is this inclination towards selfishness and putting ourselves first that followers of Jesus fight against. They know that true happiness is found by putting others first or loving your neighbour. Joy is a word for happiness that is not used so much today, but it is a simple truth that the way to joy is J for Jesus first, O for others next, and Y for yourself last. This is what Jesus taught. Try adding this to your happiness bucket and see how it makes you feel valued and happy. You don't even have to be a fully paid up Christian to try it. Though it's not a bad thing to be dependent on God to fill your happiness bucket. Well, that's all for now, guys. I've given you plenty to think about and discuss. So thanks very much for listening. Please do share with all your friends. Subscribe so as not to miss the next one. And I'll see you later. Bye for now.